Oh, boy, Jim. You golden-throated devil, you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
It's nice to see you, Jim.
You too.
You ever tried to be an announcer?
Well, I tell you, I did a guest disc jockey stint one time at a radio station in Cincinnati, 2 hours a day for 3 days. I had a whole new respect of the whole disc jockey thing. I thought it was easy. I thought you go and you sit down, you drink coffee, and, you know, a couple hours later you leave.
That's what you do.
Well, I tell you, it was tough to be interesting, and I was not interesting. You know, the phones rang and they asked, please have him leave.
Oh,
He's
I
bored.
don't believe that. You know, I guess the hard part is thinking of clever little things to say between the records.
Well, yeah, and I thought I had to be real clever. I just couldn't say, you know, here's Conway. I had to try to be cute.
Did you call him the, what is it, Clower calls him the Baron of country music or something like that?
If I had thought of it, I'd have used it. I was reaching.
But that happens a lot of, that's pretty common, isn't it, around the country? Performer goes into a town and he's invited to be a guest disc jockey for a short while.
Yeah, for a very short while. Yeah, I guess it is kind of common, but it is, I tell you, once you do it, once you sit down and do it, you have a whole new appreciation for what a disc jockey is.
Did you also operate the equipment, or did they operate it for you?
No, they wouldn't let these golden hands near the equipment.
I see. Well, that's another thing, too. Learning what all the buttons do very quickly.
I'll bet you remember, too, as I do, when radio and a radio announcer didn't do all the stuff himself. He had an engineer through the window or wherever who played the records.
When I first, I've never had that happen for me.
Really?
Except very few times. When I came to WSM, the daytime announcers had the engineers play records for them. But I was on all night. The engineers didn't want to stay up all night. Yeah. They said, you will play your own records. That means you handle the knobs and switches and,
right,
physically put the records on.
Actually do it and run all the knobs. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And that usually, it takes a while. You develop a rhythm for what they call the board. You develop a rhythm like you would on a typewriter so that you don't even have to look, like you drive in your car.
I'm sure you have to,
but
yeah.
It takes a while.
You know, that was started back when Top 40 Radio started, and I'm from Nebraska, so the reason I know this, but a radio station in Omaha, Nebraska first premiered the concept of a disc jockey being an engineer and doing it all at once, and not only doing it himself and eliminating another payroll, but also playing a top 40 kind of format of records, the top 40 hits. That was at a radio station in Omaha, Nebraska, owned by Storrs Brewing Company.
Did you hang out at this radio station?
No, it was 180 miles from home, and it took a long time to get there on a horse.
That the only thing you had to ride?
Just about, yeah.
How do you know so much about this station if you didn't hang out there?
Because we listened to it.
Oh, I see.